Imagine a god king on his chariot, sun disk blazing, as thousands fall in desert dust. This isn't epic heroism. It's Ramses II's depraved dawn, where victory feasts hid heart-ripping horrors worse than legends. In ancient Egypt's New Kingdom, 3,200 years ago, pharaohs didn't just conquer. They consumed souls to appease Ammonius Ra. What Ramses did to Kadesh prisoners. A ritual frenzy that turned battlefields into altars. Welcome back to Dark Pharaohs. Dare to feast on these shadows. Subscribe, or the gods might claim you next. Ramses II, the great builder of Abu Simbel, wasn't content with monuments. He craved divine favor through blood. In 1274 BC, at the Battle of Kadesh, history's largest chariot clash, he faced Hittite King Muwatalli's 2,500 wagons. Propaganda boasts Ramses' solo charge, but Hittite annals reveal the trap. 5,000 Egyptian captives snared like fish, bound and marched 400 miles to Thebes. These weren't soldiers. They were gifts for Ammonius Ra, per Ramesseum inscriptions. Hittite men, Syrian women, Canaanite youths, sorted for the heart of the sun right, where organs fed the gods' eternal hunger. Ramses, crowned with double uraeus serpents, declared, "Their life force strengthens my throne." But the truth? A cycle of terror ensuring Nile floods and empire glory. The captives' odyssey was hellish, whipped across Sinai sands, fed barley gruel laced with poppy to dull rebellion. They arrived at Karnak's pylon gates. An imagined Hittite scout, Ur-Teshub, echoing treaty texts, might lament, "We fought for gold, but marched for gods." Ramses oversaw the parade from his bark throne, Ammonius' statue borne on shoulders. Over 1,000 selected for the rite, strong hearts, 4 vital offerings, per Papyrus Anastasi IV. The rest? Laborers in quarries, their echoes in graffiti. Ammonius devours the weak. This wasn't war's end, it was the feast's prelude, where human essence became sacred wine. In Thebes' hypostyle halls, the heart feasts began at equinox dawn. Priests in leopard skins prepared obsidian blades, altars slick with myrrh. Ur-Teshub's fate? Chosen for purity, his heart to quench Ra's thirst. But mercy? None. Survivors sealed as living icons in temple walls. Archaeology from 2024 Thebes digs confirms. Heart-shaped amulets with prisoner cartouches, stained with ritual ochre. But the extraction? A frenzy that shocked even the gods. Stay feasted. Next, the captives sorting. The march ended, but the feast's jaws opened wide in Thebes. Captives, broken by sands and whips, faced the ultimate sort, not for life or death, but for divine consumption. Ramses' priests turned Karnak into a living abattoir where purity meant a blade's kiss. What they did to Hittite hearts, a selection that chilled the gods. Enter the vital weighing, where souls tipped the scales for Ammonius' hunger. At Karnak's great court, under the equinox sun-piercing hypostyle shadows, the 1,000 plus captives were herded like offerings to a colossus. Ramses, enthroned with his divine family, oversaw the vital weighing, a rite blending oracle and execution, detailed in Ramesseum poem. Priests in ibis masks, faces painted with lapis ochre, paraded each one before scales of electrum. Left pan held the captive's amulet, right, a feather of Ma'at for balance. Ur-Teshub, our Hittite scout, heart pounding, might feel the crowd's murmur, heavy with sin, light for the blade. Those balanced, pure of intent, were spared for labor, the heavy destined for hearts, their cartouches inscribed on altar stones as eternal fuel. Papyrus Anastasi IV logs the frenzy. Ammonius selects the strong pulse for his rising. Women and youths fared no better in the divide. Syrian mothers, clutching Canaanite babes, were probed for milk purity, a twisted test where nursed infants' cries proved vitality for Ra's nurturing fire. Selected ones, per temple stele, became veil-bearers, their hearts veiled in linen before offering, to warm the god's dawn. A young Canaanite girl, imagined as Tai, from treaty echoes, whispers and reliefs, "We bore life, but fed death." Boys like her brothers? Weighed for seed strength, their futures as sun-bearers, hearts to ignite solstice rites. Over 300 culled this way, their essences blended into sacred unguents, rubbed on Ramses' statues for imperial vigor. The horror? It was spectacle. Crowds cheering as scales tipped, ensuring loyalty through shared awe. Men bore the rite's brunt. Hittite warriors, muscles etched by battle, stripped to judgment. Heavy hearts, fierce pulses, were branded with Ra's disc on chests, per Luxor reliefs, marking them for extraction. Ur-Teshub, branded amid smoke, might curse. Iron bites deeper than Hittite steel. The light, sealed in wall niches as whisperers, their breaths enchanting spells. Quarry graffiti from Deir el-Medina echoes, weighed and won for the sun. This sorting wasn't justice, it was harvest, priming the frenzy. But when scales cleared, the blades fell. The extraction frenzy? A spectacle that devoured Thebes. Like and comment, wait for gods. Next, the heart's unholy harvest. The scales tipped, the brand seared. Now Thebes halls ran red with the heart extraction frenzy. No longer judgment, but harvest. Obsidian kissed flesh under Ra's unblinking eye, turning captives into divine fuel. Ramses' feasts weren't banquets. They were symphonies of stolen pulses, where 300 hearts rose to Ammonius in a spectacle that echoed through eternity. Witness the blades dance, depravity veiled as piety. At equinox high noon, Karnak's inner sanctum, veiled from profane eyes, became the frenzy's core. Ramses, veiled behind linen screens, chanted from his poem. Ammonius receives the vital sun. Priests, anointed in falcon oils, led the heavy hearts to rose granite altars, each etched with Ra's cartouche. Ur-Teshub, first in line, bound with silk cords symbolizing Nile floods, faced the rising cut, a swift upward arc, guided by oracle lots, to free the essence. No gore and myth, blood channeled through silver funnels into sacred jars, their warmth proving Ra's favor. Ramesseum reliefs depict it stylized, hearts as flaming orbs ascending, crowds in ecstasy. But whispers in Anastasi papyrus hint at the Real. The cut sings to the god, the silence pleases him. The frenzy cascaded, 100 hearts per rite, processed in waves under hypostyle echoes. Women veil-bearers, ties kin, held linen shrouds, their chants guiding essences to jars per temple hymns. A Canaanite youth, imagined as young Baal from Stele, followed, his seed heart cut to spark the flood, essence mixed with myrrh for unguents anointing Ramses' brow. Crowds beyond pylons, thousands strong, roared approval, feasting on dates laced with blessed drops. Luxor texts boast, the gods' hunger sated, the Pharaoh's arm unbreakable. Yet, Deir el-Medina workers strikes whisper dissent. Hearts for glory, bones for quarries. Climax at sunset, jars paraded to Ammonius Naos, essences offered in smoke veils, incense masking metallic tang. Survivors, branded and veiled, sealed as icons in wall niches, their breaths murmuring spells eternally. Ur-Teshub's final rite, his jar smashed on altar, shards scattering favor to Nile. The Ramesseum epic glorifies, from hearts, the sun renews. But the offerings didn't end at blades. They lingered as curses, binding empire and afterlife. Comment, hearts for gods. Next, the eternal harvest shadow. The frenzy's blades fell silent, but the harvest lingered, jars of essence sealed into eternity, binding captive souls to Ammonius' will. Ramses' offerings weren't fleeting. They cursed the living, weaving empire from whispers and stone. From Thebes' walls to Nile's floods, these hearts echoed as blights, dooming rivals and explorers alike. Uncover the eternal shadow, where piety became plague. Post-frenzy, jars, warm with vital sun, were paraded at dusk to Ammonius' bark shrine, per Ramesseum hymns. Priests, faces veiled in blue linen, inscribed cartouches, from Hittite fire, Ra's renewal. Ur-Teshub's essence, mingled with myrrh and lotus, poured into Naos cracks, sealing souls as wall breathers, eternal murmurs invoking floods. Ty's veiled heart, blended for unguents anointing Ramses' victories, her ba bird etched in temple ceilings to watch the unworthy. The Hittite Treaty of 1258 BC hints at fear, Egypt's gods' hunger beyond borders. Over 200 jars per rite, their power ensuring 66-year reign. But at what cost? Deir el-Medina papyri note worker omens. Hearts and walls birth Nile serpents. The offerings birthed curses, inscribed warnings on jars. Disturb, and Ra's thirst devours. Felled Hittite spies, per annals. Modern echoes? 2025 Luxor scans reveal cursed niches with ochre stains, hearts residues triggering tomb fever, and diggers, echoing Carter's Tut curse. Ramses' empire, built on 300 feasts, crumbled under divine debt. Successors plagued by thirsty gods. Baal's youth essence? Folklore claims it birthed desert mirages, luring caravans to doom. Anastasi foreveils it. The offered rise, the thieves fall eternal. Ramses' heart feasts weren't legend's glory. They were depravity's engine, hearts fueling a god-king's shadow over history. From Kadesh dust to Thebes seals, Egypt's sun rose on stolen pulses, a curse woven in gold. Thanks for devouring the shadows. If this feast chilled your core, like, subscribe, and comment. Hearts for Empire? Next, Cleopatra's serpent seductions. Notifications on. The Nile's hunger awaits.